Hi everyone, Lolly here. As you can see, not too proud to show that I am sitting in bed. Um, I am feeling a little bit better each day, but still pretty much stuck here. Um, so, not to dwell on that. This is your asynchronous video for class 2. So sorry it's late. I swear I'm going to catch up as long as my Crohn's, you know, gives me a few days without too much pain. So that's the goal. So here I am to talk to you a bit about the books you're reading today, the people who made them, and I'm going to try to keep this video to about 20 minutes. And of course, we have a whole lot more people to cover, so I'm just going to do my best. So here we go. Starting with Emily Jenkins, who wrote, where is it? Yep, That New Animal. Illustrated by Pierre Pratt. So let's see, That New Animal. First of all, you should know that Emily Jenkins is also known as E. Lockhart, who's made quite a name for herself as a YA author, young adult author, but has also done a number of picture books as Emily Jenkins. She grew up in Cambridge, Mass. and Seattle in the 1970s. And went to Vassar, where she studied with some really prominent children's book creators. She also came from a theater family, which she credits with a lot of her interest in picture books. She's worked in a preschool. She currently lives in Brooklyn. And let's see, she's done children's books that go all the way from the very youngest board books all the way to the oldest of the young adult books. Let's see. So one quote I have from her website is that seeing the words I write transformed by an illustrator's imagination is my favorite part of the process. So she seems to be someone who really embraces the fact that she doesn't actually work with the illustrators while they're doing the books. Instead, she trusts her editor and then enjoys seeing what they all came up with. So I have, what do I have? I've got a couple of other books by Emily Jenkins to show you. One is Water in the Park, which takes place in Brooklyn, her hometown. And this is another one, Five Creatures. This one I especially love. It's basically a Venn diagram book, in which they say things like, in my family, two of the people are human, and three of the people are human, and two of the people are cats. And two of them have black hair, and three of them have red hair, that kind of thing. So, Emily Jenkins. And then illustrated by Pierre Pratt. I don't happen to have any of his other books here, but I can tell you that he was born in Montreal in 1962. He knew from a very young age that he wanted to illustrate. He studied graphic design in college, illustrated his first book in 1990, and has since then also written as well as illustrated for children. He's a musician, so he's one of these multi-talented guys. He likes to illustrate books that have an absurdist edge, so I'm hoping that's something that you'll be able to talk about when you look at his art for That New Animal. Okay, a little topic I want to cover apropos of That New Animal. One of the reasons I chose this book is because it fits so well into a somewhat controversial topic, which is bibliotherapy. And when I say it fits well, I mean that, I'm going to cut that little bit there. So bibliotherapy is a somewhat controversial idea in children's literature. And it sometimes refers to just using any issue book for the purpose of helping a child with that issue. But ideally, it would actually be following a stricter definition, which would be the use of a children's book in a controlled setting with a professional therapist. Because what might be obvious to a lot of us, which is that, if we have a children's book that's all about a particular subject and it comes at it in a really straightforward way, about how sometimes you're going to be jealous. If you think about it, if this is being read to a child who's really angry about having a sibling, this isn't really going to do much for them. It's like, telling someone who's overweight that I think you'd really like this self-help book about losing weight. It's like, yeah, I know it's a problem, but ugh. So that new animal is able to deal with these things with humor, and also by making the main characters dogs, not humans. So it allows the child who's experiencing this book to realize, that the dogs are going through something similar to what they're going through. And, of course, with a great deal of humor, that some of the things the dogs are thinking and saying are exactly what a human child would think or say. And then some of them, like peeing on the carpet, are something that ideally only a dog would be doing. There's a terrific article about bibliotherapy and the problems with it, and then also, how it can become useful. It's by Maeve, Visser, Knoth, and I will put a link to that article below this video. Let's see. Next we have Journey by Francesca Sana. The Journey. Sorry, I keep calling it Journey, not The Journey. So Francesca Sana is based in Zurich, Switzerland. You may have noticed that this book was not originally published in the U.S. It has now been published in the U.S., but because Francesca Sana is still not living in the U.S., her books can never be considered for the Caldecott or any of the American Library Association awards, which is kind of too bad. So she has illustrated and authored several children's books, and I will show you a few of those here while I'm talking. She has also has illustrated posters, book covers, cards, all kinds of things. And if you're interested in that, you can take a look at them on her website. And then another kind of fun thing she did was, at one point during International Women's Day, she created a Google Doodle for them. So next up, we have our other picture book. Come on, through the page. Yes. So next we have School's First Day of School. Man, when I read this book, I just knew I wanted to bring it to the class. So I'm hoping, especially those of you who are teachers, will have quite a lot to say about this. So Adam Rex was the author. He has written, and he's also an illustrator. He's written and illustrated more than 40 books at this point for kids. He's won a number of sort of overall prizes, the Margaret Wise Brown Prize, the National Cartoonist Society Book Award. He especially likes to do kind of science fiction. So this is one that I happen to own, The True Meaning of Smek Day, which was made into the movie Home, the animated movie Home. It's about a girl and an alien who is visiting Earth, and all the people on Earth are really afraid of these aliens, as she begins to realize that they're not something to be afraid of. So that's Adam Rex, and then Christian Robinson was born in 1986. He lives in California. He was raised by his grandmother in a one-room bedroom home shared by 6 people. And he went on to graduate from California Institute of the Arts. And before he started creating children's books, he did some really great work for both Sesame Street and for Pixar. He says that his main mission now through illustrating children's literature is to provide every child with a picture of themselves in books to show that they do matter, are visible, and are valuable. And even though Robinson struggled to read as a child, he gravitated towards picture books that communicated a lot, not just through pictures, but also through words. So he especially does enjoy illustrating another author's texts. He tends to use collage as his preferred medium. He got a Caldecott Honor Book in 2016, and that same year was the Coretta Scott King Illustrator Award winner. And also, this book went on to win the Newbery Medal for Adam Rex. So it became a New York Times bestseller, etc. So, Christian Robinson has done a number of. It wasn't School's First Day of School. It was Matt de la Peña's book, Last Stop on Market Street. Matt de la Peña won the Newbery in 2016. I don't think there's any way I'm going to be able to cut those because I talk too fast. Okay, so that was a little fix there. This is the book. Yeah, this is the book that won. You can see he's working using his collage technique. And definitely a book worth looking at, but I'm trying to move quickly. Here's one of his books, Gaston. Christian is gay, and that he's very happy to work on books that are about people who discover that who they are already is okay. And in this book, Gaston, it's basically about two litters of dogs. One of which is this sort of terrier who grows up in a family of poodles, and the other is a poodle who grows up in a family of terriers. And of course, the poodle with the terriers is all tough, and the terrier with the poodles is not tough at all, as you see sitting in his armchair with his lovely book. And they realize this and try to change places, and then they realize, no, exactly who they are is fine. He may look like a tough dog on the outside, but he is who he is on the inside. So that is Adam Rex and Christian Robbins. Next we go into our two easy readers. And before we do that, I just want to say a little bit about the past of easy readers. I'm guessing a lot of you know about Dr. Seuss. The Cat in the Hat was really the first easy reader that children enjoyed. Up until then, they were reading, the most famous easy readers were books about Dick and Jane and how their cat sat on a mat, etc. So very little that was interesting. The words were chosen really carefully, but there was really no plot and no humor and nothing like what we get now in books, excuse me, by people like Mo Willems, who is the real new, sorry, I've got too many piles here. Mo Willems, who is like the easy reader king, I would say, right now. And he had already been doing other books that weren't easy readers, but once he started the Elephant and Piggy books, which are now classics, and we are reading the first one for this class. But he's got a whole bunch of those. Oh, where's the pile? Where's the pile? No. Oh, I didn't put any. Well, he's got a lot of Elephant and Piggy books that I can't hold up for you right now. Among his non-easy readers are the very well-known Knuffle Bunny. This was another book that was published the year I was on the Caldecott, and we gave it a Caldecott honor, which well, I won't go into that. Sorry. Sometimes I'm tempted to say more than I'm supposed to say, so sorry. So yeah, he's won a huge number of awards for his books. And he now has a kind of a spin-off series, which is Elephant and Piggy Presents. And those are books in which Elephant and Piggy kind of introduce the book, but the book itself is created by a different author-illustrator. And generally these are authors and illustrators who had never even thought about writing an easy reader before, because they really are the hardest kind of book to create. They're so constraining. It's sort of like, writing free verse and then being told, okay, now you need to write a sonnet. It's hard. It's hard to get it to, be, use the right sorts of words, but be fun, etc., etc. So Mo Willems always makes it look really easy. And we're not even going to begin to list the number of awards he's got. And the same is kind of true for the other person we've got, which is, Grace Lin. This is the first of her series called Ling and Ting. The first one is called Not Exactly the Same, so it introduces them. And as you might have guessed, growing up as an Asian girl and woman in the United States, she got really tired of all the really bad stereotypes in children's books, particularly a book called The Five Chinese Brothers, which I think was written and illustrated in the 1930s, so you can guess that basically all of the five brothers were pictured exactly the same, identical. And so this is her comeback. She's got a book about identical twins, but they are not exactly the same, you guys. So Some of Grace's other books. In this case, I did pick up some of her other Ling and Ting books to just show you really quickly. These are not all of them, but some of them. She received a Caldecott Medal recently for this book, A Big Mooncake for Little Star. These illustrations are terrific. She uses a style called fadeaway style. Oh shoot, I should have marked a page. In which the background kind of melds with portions of the figures that she's talking about. So here we go. It was very popular in the 1920s for fashion illustrations, interestingly. And so she picked it up and uses it here. And this is also a book that has a lot of references to other books, like Knuffle Bunny. And the beginning scene is very much an homage to Blueberries for Sal by Robert McCloskey, who's one of her favorites. And then she started to write chapter books for younger readers. This is her book, The Year of the Dog. And then later wrote, books for older kids. This is Where the Mountain Meets the Moon, the first of her folklore-like books. So she's basically taking Chinese folklore and putting her own twist to it. And I did invite Grace Lynn to join us on Wednesday, but unfortunately she will not be able to. But she sent the sweetest email. Basically, because so much is done by Zoom right now, the children's book creators are doing a lot of Zoom school visits. So on Wednesday, she has 4 different schools that she's visiting. And she said she's really sorry, but she's going to be wiped out by 6 o'clock, which I think is very understandable. And then finally, we have Molly Bang, whose book, Picture This. This may not be what your cover looks like. This is the newer edition. Picture This, How Pictures Work. And this is the 25th anniversary edition. So this is an oldie and a goodie. And I hope you've already heard that Molly will be joining our class on Wednesday, probably for about 20 minutes. So the goal is that, she doesn't have to do a lot of preparing ahead. She'll just talk a little bit about her journey, and then we hope that there'll be plenty of questions for her. I know that when we're in person, there are tons of questions. But one thing I've noticed is that on Zoom classes, people tend to be muted and sort of, I don't know, somehow they're muted and they're comfortably in their own homes, and sometimes people are less likely to ask questions. So I really hope you think about the kinds of questions you might want to ask Molly. So let's see. She has done Easy Readers with her daughter Monica. She has done books like When Sophie Gets Angry, Really, Really Angry, which a lot of you who are teachers probably know about. And here's a follow-up book to it, When Sophie Thinks She Can't. This is quite recent. This is a galley, meaning that I reviewed this book, so they sent me a copy that didn't have a cover on it yet. Another favorite of mine is The Paper Crane, which she illustrated with collage. And then more recently, she's been doing a lot of science books. She grew up in a family of scientists, and she started out this series writing them herself. And then she joined up with Penny Chisholm, who's an oceanographer who teaches at MIT. And this series is absolutely terrific. They got kind of a slow start in that people didn't take note right away, but since then they've been winning a lot of awards for information books. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, Molly was born in 1943 in Princeton, New Jersey. She grew up near Woods Hole, which is actually where she also lives now. She got several degrees, but she has lived in a number of places. After college, she moved to Kyoto, where she taught English as a second language. And she's worked as a translator and a reporter and an illustrator for UNICEF. She lived for a while in Mali, West Africa. And she didn't start doing books until 1973, which she started by illustrating folk tales. And I think I've already talked about most of the other stuff I want to say about her. She's done, at this point, more than 40 books. So that is Grace Lynn, and Where's my stuff? I mean, that is Molly Bang. I think you can probably tell I'm not really out of the woods yet. And that, I can't believe that is everything. Wow, man. All right. That's all for this week. Happy reading, and I will see groups 3, 4, and 5 on Zoom tonight.